Global coronavirus cases topped 1 million today, with the United States, Spain, and Italy at the forefront. Good evening, I'm Chace Beech, reporting from Santa Monica.
And I'm Brogan Kroener, reporting from Coto de Caza in Orange County. As the pandemic worsens, there is also a growing shortage of medical supplies. According to the real-time statistics of Worldometer, there are now more than 1 million cases of the coronavirus. The total worldwide number of deaths has reached 52,855. Those who have recovered from the virus is close to 211,000. In the United States, the CDC reports the total number of coronavirus cases has reached 213,000. At least 4,500 have died. In California, the number of cases now tops 10,600. 236 people have died. As of today, the coronavirus has killed 78 people in the LA County area. So far, there is a recorded number of 4,045 positive cases in Los Angeles alone, according to the LA County Department of Public Health. There's still no official word from the White House on recommendations for wearing masks.
I don't think they'll be mandatory because some people don't want to do that. But if people wanted, as an example on the masks, if people wanted to wear them, they can.
This morning, the U.S. Department of Labor announced that 10 million Americans have filed for unemployment due to COVID-19. Some economists say this is just the beginning of the economic downturn.
But I don't see it decreasing that substantially going forward. So I think we're going to continue to see pretty high new unemployment filings.
While today's numbers are dramatic, many have been living with the reality of unemployment for weeks.
I worked at Tupelo Honey Cafe in downtown Asheville. So unfortunately, about 80 of us got laid off.
It wasn't so much as like them telling us you're fired or anything like that. It was just like we all heard at the same time that restaurants had to close, and we all just knew at that point we were out of a job.
And just kind of got the feeling as I biked from one location to the office that this would potentially be happening, as the company had to let go of several, I think 50 employees on Monday of that week, and this was on Thursday. So I kind of got the sense.
Because so many people are being laid off, unemployment offices are overwhelmed.
So this happened almost 2 weeks ago, and I've tried to call into their unemployment office every day, like repeatedly. And I'm talking like rapid speed dialing, like the numbers, like there's like 5 different numbers you can call. So I've been like rapidly speed dialing the numbers trying to get through to a human. And it's impossible.
It's like very frustrating because you have to fill out the form each time, and you have to have all this information in front of you, and you fill it out, and then you get timed out and you fill it out. So every time and you're already stressed out because you're out of a job. So like the whole process is just very stressful.
In order to ease the economic burden, today, California Governor Gavin Newsom announced a new plan to help small businesses pay employees.
What we are calling for today is a 1-year reprieve for small businesses, where no fines, no penalties will be attached, where they can take upwards of $50,000 as a loan. Economists say we can expect more measures like this.
I expect there to be calls for more, especially if, we do see unemployment, if unemployment keeps increasing at this pace for a while, we start seeing 15% unemployment. I think it's probably not unlikely that there'll be more government intervention.
And at a time when so much is uncertain, one thing economically is clear.
A lot of projections that say that definitely in the near term, we're looking at pretty high unemployment numbers and a pretty severe contraction of GDP.
I'm Keith Leach with Annenberg Media, and I'm reporting live from my apartment on West 30th Street. Because of the coronavirus, my parents and I both found it really too risky for me to travel all the way back home to Oklahoma during this pandemic, so we decided that I should just shelter in place here. And despite the income uncertainty caused by coronavirus, multiple off-campus housing options for students are still requiring their tenants to pay rent this month. Rental owners like Logue Properties, who owns my building, have multiple buildings housing hundreds of USC students, many of whom returned to their homes across the world due to the pandemic. But the building manager for both properties on West 30th Street sent out an email telling students, quote, "Rent is still due and should still be received on April 1st. Multiple emails followed by tenants asking for a different method of payment or temporary rent forgiveness due to the situation, but both the building manager and the landlord refused. So per our new instructions of paying off rent, my roommate and I were required to drive all the way to Westwood just to drop off the check. And with such a high international tenant population and no method of paying off rent online, it remains to be seen whether or not Logue Properties will work with any of their tenants on finding a solution to this issue. For Annenberg Media, I'm Keith Leach.
I'm DEVIN KLEINER, and last week I was tested for coronavirus. I was tested for coronavirus not only because I was experiencing some of the symptoms that come with it, but I was also actually exposed to someone who had tested positive for the virus. I got my results back in 4 days, and I was actually very fortunate to get a negative result back, and that result to me meant finally going home, which in my case is to New York. When I got to LAX, it was empty, which I was very happy to see. However, once I got on my flight, there were about 30 to 40, maybe even 50 people, which I was really surprised to see with the travel, if necessary, and all the stay-in-home orders in place. But I just followed the precautions, and I got in and out of the airport as fast as I could. But when I was walking through JFK, once I landed, I was, again, surprised to see that it was pretty packed. There were few people at each gate, people at every food stand. Definitely seemed more crowded than it should be at this time, but I got out of there. I'm now home safe and I'm quarantining. I hope everyone's doing the same as I am, staying safe, staying home, and staying healthy.
Throughout this pandemic, USC medical students have been learning firsthand about how a virus spreads. We spoke to 2 medical students who told us about the importance of accurate information.
Hey guys, my name is Maya and I'm a pre-med journalism student at Annenberg. With the overwhelming amount of information out there about the coronavirus pandemic, it's extremely important to find information that's reliable so that more panic doesn't spread.
Hi there, my name is Lena and I'm a senior majoring in global health, getting my master's in global medicine management here at KEK. I'm also an infectious disease biological sciences researcher, which means that I spend pretty much all of my time figuring out how viruses operate within our body and also how we can stop this spread of disease pretty much all around the globe. So my biggest word of advice right now would be to make sure the information that you are spreading to your friends is true. There's tons of false information out there, fake facts, so go straight to the source for that information. That means the CDC website or other peer-reviewed scientific journals, because there are great researchers all around the country doing amazing work to make sure that you stay healthy.
California students will not be returning to any classrooms for the rest of the school year, putting more and more pressure on teachers of all grades to provide students with engaging online learning environments.
From the teacher standpoint, it's us understanding the technology and how to get that to them and use it effectively. And from the student standpoint, the challenging part is them having the ability to also receive the content, receive like quality instruction, and even something as simple as something that we take for granted, like internet service or a working computer or what, even a newer computer, a Chromebook, something.
We need to make sure that they have those foundations down, the fundamental skills. They're really strong, and pushing into first grade is a big jump. And we had begun our reading program. We were actually in the middle of it, and they were doing so well, and I can't be there. I do one-on-one with them at school, and I can't do that with them. And I rely on the parents, and I love the parents, and I appreciate them so much, but I know that they're busy. Everything's crazy. So I worry so much about them.
My students are 6th graders. It's their last year in elementary. And it would be a big deal for them every single year because they get promotion, end of year fun activities, and they move on to the junior high. So it was so abruptly when we left, we weren't really prepared. We didn't really get a proper goodbye. And we're very sad about it. It's kind of an abrupt ending that we know has to happen. And I know they're very sad about it as well.
I mean, there's working parents. So even though these kids do have the tools, they don't necessarily always have the support from their parents to help them with their schoolwork because they're working. Even if they're not out and about, still commuting to work. They're working from home and they're kind of occupied. It's been challenging to teach brand new curriculum to fifth graders, especially math. So that's been a challenge for me. So just trying to use as many resources as I can to make it engaging for them at home.
With most of the country quarantined and people stocking up on supplies, long lines and empty shelves are the norm at local grocery stores. Social distancing and stay-at-home guidelines caused by coronavirus have left many streets empty and quiet. Bars, restaurants, schools, and others have shut down, but the one place you can expect to find a long line? Grocery stores. Shoppers looking to get in the door at this Los Feliz Costco maneuvered in and out of long taped-off lines that stretch down the street. However, with large numbers of people rushing to stock up on supplies, many store shelves are left completely empty. Essentials like food, toilet paper, and cleaning supplies are flying off the shelves faster than they can be restocked, which has shoppers and parents having to adapt.
I love going to the grocery store, so now with this coronavirus, it's a real challenge. I go to the store probably 3 o'clock, once every 2 weeks. I grab what's picked over, and that's what I decide to cook for the next 2 weeks.
Now, more shoppers are turning to online ordering platforms like Amazon and Instacart to avoid long lines and ravaged shelves. In fact, according to Statista, 74% of people are likely to buy their grocery store items online while quarantined. However, there are also challenges that can arise with this method of shopping.
With all the delivery times being booked up, Costco, I set my alarm for, 1 a.m. so I can press the button and get the delivery schedule. Otherwise, you can't get a delivery time.
Many of the necessary supplies are either sold out on these online shopping centers like Amazon or are much more expensive, leaving consumers no other option but to go out and brave the grocery store conditions. So how does one safely make a grocery run without bringing the virus back home? According to the National Institutes of Health, coronavirus can live on cardboard for 1 hour and plastics and metals for 3 hours. It advises shoppers to leave their non-perishable groceries in the garage or on the front porch for 3 days before bringing them inside. In a now viral YouTube video, Michigan Dr. Jeffrey VanWingen laid out the proper protocol to clean and kill potential viruses still on grocery surfaces.
Now this side of the table is going to be my clean side. And we're going to consider the other side of the table as a dirty side where we're going to put our groceries from outside the house. Because I know that human hands have touched this medication bottle in less than 72 hours, I'm going to wipe that down. I'm going to place it on the clean side.
VanWingen recommends that we wash our fruits like we wash our hands, with soap and water for 20 seconds, and that we either remove foods out of packaging or spray it down with disinfectant. He also says when going to the grocery store, shoppers should plan on buying enough supplies for 2 weeks. A USC grad student and professor are tracking the coronavirus in the greater Los Angeles area. Using data from the public health department, they noticed higher rates of COVID-19 testing in some communities.
We finally found this data through the Department of Public Health. If you glance at it briefly, and if you know the makeup of LA, especially economically, we found out that the numbers in that aspect, a lot of the richer areas in LA, the number of infections, the numbers of infection were spiking, as opposed to the middle classes and the lower classes. Because they had the privilege and social capital to access those tests, it wasn't available for the rest of the county, especially people who are actually displaying symptoms and who are actually sick. I think that's the problem globally, right? We don't know what the next step is. We're getting so much of information, but we don't really know what people are doing to make it more accessible to the other parts of the county and the rest of the world, really. We'll be updating this on a daily basis, so it'll always be current. And we really hope that, the distribution is more, general and it can flatten the curve that way.
The defense attorney for a former admissions official at USC spoke to Annenberg Media today about the graduate admissions scandal after his client agreed to plead guilty to wire fraud. David Chong worked in the USC Office of Graduate Admissions from 2008 to 2016. He helped 3 graduate students from China get admitted to USC by submitting doctor transcripts, letters of recommendation, and personal statements. The FBI investigation revealed that Chong collected about $40,000 from international students and those who he believed to be international students. Chong's defense attorney spoke with us at Annenberg Media about the case.
At the time that the charges were contemplated, he was then living in China. He voluntarily came back to the United States to be responsible to face the charges. He's very regretful, remorseful, and embarrassed by his conduct. This case has gotten quite a bit of attention because of the larger cases involving submission of fraudulent applications to various colleges throughout the United States.
As more and more experts encourage the use of face masks while we are out in public, some people are finding creative ways to make face masks out of household products.
Then, raise it a bit here, in front of your ears. And there you have it.
And you fold this side over and this side into it.
Thank you for watching See It Live. We will continue to post newscasts here on the Annenberg Media YouTube channel.
And for continuous coverage of COVID-19, head to uscannenbergmedia.com. Have a great night.